Good morning. So let me give a few thank yous right up front if I could. First of all, thank you to the Sobrato Center for hosting this event. Portia, thank you for having us here. Appreciate it. Now, we're in East Palo Alto meeting with Dr. Fay. She has a practice of saying, okay, let's show a little love too, and then everybody claps and hoots and hollers. So Portia, thank you for hosting us. Okay, everybody. That's better. Okay. Thank my colleague, Supervisor Adrienne Tissier, for her work. Some of her staff are here. Anthony and Lorraine, I believe, are here. And thank you for everything you've done. Back there? There we go. That's better. And of course, Noelle, Connie, and everybody else who may have had a hand at this. But let me just recognize Mike Callahy for his contributions to this morning. Michael, thank you. And last but not least, legislative aide Maya Perkins, who is really, I think, the organizing force behind this. Maya, thank you. So I thought, how many of you saw the movie Moneyball? Yep. Huh? No, not too many have seen Moneyball. My goodness, I have to start at the beginning then. And if you haven't seen Moneyball, it's a movie, came out in 2011, stars Brad Pitt. Yeah, let's hear it for Brad. And Jonah Hill, who plays an economist statistician. So Moneyball is based on a true story, actually a true story about the Oakland Athletics just across the bay. And between August 13th and September 4th of 2002, and Michael, being a Little League coach, can verify my facts, that the Oakland A's baseball team didn't lose a single game for a span of 20 Major League Baseball games, which is incredible, which was a record, which was awesome when you consider the fact that this team had lost 3 of their really star players, like Jason Giambi, for instance. They lost him and a couple of others. So their team was gutted, basically, of its superstars. Nevertheless, somehow, they forged this winning streak. They did that with a budget of just $40 million. $40 million, while the other teams in the league were spending around $120 million for player personnel. So in Oakland, the budget for the baseball team was around 40, and for the richest teams, 120 million, and yet somehow they cobbled together a group of people who, for 20 games in the major leagues, went undefeated. Pretty amazing story, if you like baseball. Well, you gotta like Brad Pitt, right? Okay. So their success came really as a result of their lack of resources, because they had to think about how to do things differently because they didn't have the money. So Billy Beane, who was the general manager of the Oakland A's at that time, began identifying statistics, evidence, numbers about players. And he decided that a lot of what baseball practices had been were based on myths, that traditional recruiting looked at how well you did in college. But that wasn't the true story of what would make a winning team. And so he worked on this and began to exploit those inefficiencies in Major League Baseball. And he let data drive his draft picks and his trades. It was all based on data and evidence. So while the rest of the league were playing traditional baseball, Billy Beane and our neighbors, the Oakland Athletics, were playing something that came to be known as Moneyball. So you can imagine that at the time, some people looked at Billy Beane and what he was doing and they called it fortune cookie logic. And he came under severe criticism because they had lost several games under this new plan. They weren't doing very well, and the fans started to boo. The press started to get on him. It was not a pretty picture. But he kept crunching those numbers. He kept looking at the evidence. He kept analyzing and reanalyzing and thinking things through. And the big challenge was, I think, just as it is for all of us, determining what data mattered and what data didn't matter. It all came down basically to getting more things done with a lot less money, something I know that probably resonates in your community. So all of that brings up a really fundamentally important question, which is, if data and evidence and evaluation could revolutionize baseball, could data, evidence, and evaluation revolutionize government? Could it revolutionize the nonprofit world? The question is, could we make this country, California, our county, San Mateo, a better place for children and families by investing in truly what works, by collecting data and evidence and testing, retesting, and by holding ourselves to a much higher standard than ever before? So our efforts to assess the effectiveness of government spending, and one of the things that I always talk about with my staff and the county manager is trying to answer the question of how do we know if we're moving the needle in the right direction? How do we know that? Because the county has a $2 billion budget. It invests a lot of money in community-based programs. And the question is, are we moving the needle? And if we don't move that needle, there's a really, really significant cost, because imagine the human cost in a jobs program, for instance, where a breadwinner goes through this program but doesn't get a job. Doesn't get a job, right? So that parent or those parents are unable to put food on the table for their kids. Let's think about that. So through data and evidence and that analysis, hopefully that job program can be elevated, that person could get a job, and that family could have sufficient food on their table. I don't think any of us in this room want that sort of a scenario to happen. And that's why I think that the ABCs of evidence-based practices and how to apply them for funding is so fundamentally important. And just a little side note, Maya, where are you? Oh, there she is. That ABC thing, I'm really disappointed that you didn't choose the title that I selected and turned in for this seminar. And I'm sure he had something to do with it. But this topic is really, really relevant, and I think we can look to the Oakland A's for that data part and how they did what they did, and think about how we might apply those techniques to our own work. So thank you for everything that you do, for all of your innovations, but especially for your collaborative, dedicated spirit to improving the quality of life for all the folks that live in San Mateo County. It's truly important, as all of you know, that restoring a person's dignity and honor, and helping them to rebuild their own self-worth to get and keep a job, as an example, and be reunited with their family and become a welcomed contributing community member is right at the top of our collective lists. So with that, we can start the day. Part of my job here is to introduce or to lay out for you the rest of the day. So let me just say that we're joined this morning by Dr. Natalie Pearl, who's a nationally renowned researcher who specializes in excellence and accountability. And she's going to share some of her leading edge thoughts on evidence-based practices with you. And I'm very pleased to tell you that she graduated from my alma mater, San Diego State University. So thank you. Give it up for her. In the afternoon, we're going to hear from the county's legislative director, Connie. Where is Connie? There she is, back there. Who's going to talk about questions that are raised by your colleagues and questions that you might have. And then, of course, we're going to hear next from Michael Callahy, Deputy County Manager. Hopefully by the end of the day, you'll understand a little bit more about evidence-based practices and how that can help you in your organizations and how it can help you apply for and secure additional grant funding for your efforts. So let me introduce to you, if I could, a really amazing individual who's been with the county now for nearly a year?
A year and a half.
Oh boy, it's been a year and a half already. And during that time, he has just done amazing things, I think, throughout the county. He and I and Sharifa Wilson and Dr. Fay and a host of others spend a lot of time working together in a collaborative and cooperative way on behalf of the residents of East Palo Alto. And he's there when I get there in the morning at 8 o'clock. Well, I don't really get there at 8 o'clock. But I know he's there early. And I know that he leaves late, and I know that he has 1,000,001 things on his plate, and I'm sincerely appreciated to call him a colleague. He's a very capable individual. He's been a lawyer, a police officer, and basically has a 30-year career in the criminal justice system. So let's show him a little love as we do. Michael Callahy.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to this beautiful Monday morning. All of you got the memo. You turned your clocks ahead, so we're here on time, and we'll keep an eye on the door for those who didn't and show up an hour from now. On behalf of John Maltby and the entire County Manager's Office, I want to welcome you all here and thank you for being here on this for this important topic. Why we're here is because we are all in this together. What you do every day is so important to this county. Robert Kennedy once said, "Some men see things that are and ask why. I dream things that never were and ask why not." And that's what you do every day, right? You ask why not, just like we do. Why can't we have a county that has no homelessness, that has no hunger, where kids learn to read by the third grade so they could read to learn after that? So we have kids in our foster system who have started out life in a tragic way. Why can't they lead a prosperous life? For those who have been incarcerated, why can't we have an equal system of justice where mistakes can lead to a healthy life, where we put programs together to rehabilitate people and make them productive members of our society? And you have all joined us in those quests to ensure that we try to achieve those goals. And they're attainable. And we do it every day. And it's because of you. It's because of your partnership with us that we're able to do these things. And we are so proud of you and what you accomplish. We could not do this without you. You are so important to this county. And we're here to say thank you. Foremost, thank you for what you do. We have an exciting day today for evidence-based practices, whether it's at the local level, the state, or the federal government. Everyone requires that. And we learn from the successes of others. And we employ those techniques, and we bring the best practices of this county because that's what our clients deserve. To be here with us, to make sure that we spend our money wisely through you, doing the great work that you do on a daily basis. We are very, very excited about this. We know together that we can achieve anything. You take the impossibilities and make them possible. And that's what we're so excited about. I admire you. I'm proud of you for what you do in this county, as is the Board of Supervisors and the entire county manager's office. So thank you. We have a wonderful guest speaker that I'll be introducing later today. We hope that it will be an exciting and informative day for you. I know that everyone's time is precious, so we're going to fill it up with good information and make sure that you leave here with more tools than you came with. We've got an incredible staff back here who's worked very hard to make this a great day for you. We'll have we have a wonderful little brunch over here. We're going to have a nutritious and delicious lunch for you, and we'll be energized as we leave here together, collectively leveraging what we know and their expertise and the professionalism to better serve our community. So thank you very much for being here, for spending this time with us. And now I'd like to introduce Richard Horry, who is the Director of Probation. And I'll come back later and then introduce our guest today. So thank you very much.
The mic's a bit taller than me, so I'll just put this down. You know, every time you're asked to speak, you wonder who you're going to speak after. And of course, usually it's Steve Wagstaff. And that's not good for me. This time, Supervisor Slocum, and then I see Mike Callaghy, so I know it's probably not good for me either, but I'm going to do the best I can. So my name is Rich Horry. I'm the Director of Realignment, Reentry for the Probation Department. And on behalf of Chief John Keene, I'd like to welcome you here this morning. You know, I've been in this field for going on 34 years now, probation, and I got to tell you, we could have imagined having an event like this 34 years ago. We were the experts, probation were. We knew exactly how we were going to do treatment, if we had treatment at all. We didn't know much about the CBOs. Our philosophy in supervision was basically you do what we say or we lock you up, and that's how it was in the 80s. In the 90s, we started changing a bit. With the formation of the drug court, we started understanding the CBOs a bit better. And we got a little bit better about treatment, the understanding of treatment, but we still didn't understand evidence-based. And so in the 90s, we kind of were getting the idea of what evidence-based meant, but we still really hadn't put anything in a real format together. In 1999, the Bridges program was formed. That was a collaboration, a county collaboration with the Sequoia Adult School, treatment providers, and probation, and the courts, the DA and the private defender. We didn't have much success at Bridges either. We had high numbers, but we had about a 30% success rate. But one of the things we did was we decided to try cognitive skills. And for whatever reason, and I know a lot of good reasons, I remember being in one of those classes, but I couldn't figure out why we were doing this. But long story short, we all got COG trained. We implemented COG in the Bridges program, and our success rate went from a 30% success rate to about a 75% success rate. So what it showed was that cognitive skills and evidence-based did work. The probation department now has formatted other collaborative courts, and many of you guys are involved with that. The Pathways program, the Veterans Court, the Drug Court, the Bridges program. Prop 36 was also another collaboration. And I think what we found is we can't do all the work. We need all of you, and we appreciate all of you. So we still have work to do on the probation end. We still we want to become evidence-based, but we also want to implement more programs that are evidence-based. We do have the assessment tools, the JACE and the CASE. We do things like MI, we do journaling, and we do cognitive skills, but we still want to get better, and we need your help. So our department is basically committed to providing the best possible outcomes using evidence-based programs as we go on. We can't do it alone, so we're going to need your help. And we're looking forward to becoming an evidence-based organization. So we're hoping for that type of recognition from, from the state and the feds. But moving forward, again, we want to thank you for the collaboration. I mean, it's good to see many of you who I know. It's really important that we meet face to face, that we work on the collaboration and working with the Board of Supervisors, the County Manager's Office, and all the other county players. Again, this is 30-something years ago, this would not have happened. We thought we were the experts. We know we're not. And we just want to thank you because we can't do it by ourselves. So thank you very much. And let me turn it back to Mike, and I'll move the mic up a little bit.
You know, Rich is such a great guy. We have so many great people in this county, all doing, so many great things. I've just been absolutely thrilled to be here for the last year and a half and to work with the supervisor. And really, it was Supervisor Warren Slocum's idea to get everyone together today and have this so we can really all work better collectively, leveraging our resources. So let's give the supervisor a big round of applause. Okay, so it's my pleasure to introduce Natalie Pearl, a fellow Aztec warrior. So Dr. Natalie Pearl spent the last 20 years working at the intersection of community-based organizations in the criminal justice system with the goal of improving services offered to offenders in the hope of reducing the recidivism rates. For the last 10 years, Dr. Pearl was a member of the faculty at the San Diego State University. Until recently was the Director of Research for San Diego County Probation. Dr. Pearl is currently the National Director of Research of Geo Group, Inc., a leader in the delivery of rehabilitative services. I'm somebody very, very excited to introduce. Dr. Pearl is well-renowned in this field and throughout the state, travels extensively throughout our country speaking on this subject matter of evidence-based practices, has done extensive research in this area, and I know we'll make this a very, very exciting and information-filled day. So let's give it up for Dr. Natalie Pearl.